Workplace Relations and Safety Minister Brooke van Velden announced yesterday the introduction of the Employment Relations Amendment Bill to Parliament aimed at making the job market more flexible. At its core is a new gateway test that clarifies whether someone is an employee or an independent contractor, helping businesses and workers know exactly where they stand from day one. The bill has also included a couple of changes designed to cut down legal headaches for employers. It limits personal grievance remedies for serious misconduct. So if someone behaves badly, they can't sue for reinstatement or humiliation compensation. And it removes the 30-day rule, meaning new hires all now start on their agreed individual contract right away. And the 90-day trial kicks in immediately as well. Plus, there's other things I want to talk to the minister about, including paid parental leave and sick leave. So there's a lot to get through. So a very good afternoon to the minister, Brooke van Velden. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah.
Geez, Brooke, there's a lot to talk about. You have been busy, dare I say.
I have been busy, but I'm not going to stop there as well. We've got a lot to get through with our work program this term.
You have. Hey, can we start with the new gateway test? What problem is this solving? How does it help both workers and businesses?
Yeah, well, the problem this is solving is a lack of business confidence when signing up new contract arrangements. And if you think about it, we're now in a very modern economy where a lot of people are able to work from home, work remotely, they work online, or they might do short-term gigs. A lot of people might do that if they're a delivery driver or, signing up to an app for short-term work. And really what this is saying is we should be far more upfront at the start of those contracts about what the role of that relationship is, because some businesses are confused whether or not they've got an employee or a contractor, and some workers are confused if they're an employee or a contractor too. And those come with different obligations. Employees have sick leave, they might have annual leave, a whole bunch of other entitlements that contractors don't have.
Yeah.
And so it's actually quite important that people know what they are signing up to. So what this test says is that right at the start of the relationship, if you have it in writing that you are an independent contractor and not an employee, and your business that you've signed your contract with does not restrict you from working for anyone else, you can have multiple contracts, and you don't have to work on specific days or numbers of hours, or you can subcontract out your work potentially if you want to take a holiday. You can't then go to the employment authority and say, hey, I'm not sure what I signed up for. I actually think I'm an employee and I should get the obligations of being an employee. When it's really clear in writing that you were an independent contractor and you knew what you were signing up for. And I think that helps for businesses and workers.
Yeah. So was it quite confusing, Brooke, is what I'm hearing for businesses and employees?
Well, I think in part where some of this confusion has come from is, if you think of employment law, people actually need to sign a contract to say, yep, I'm going to turn up from these hours to these hours. This is kind of what I expect to get paid. I know what my duties are. But that's not the case for contract law. There is no current need for anyone to have their agreement in writing. You can just have a verbal agreement.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying, look, let's try and put that in writing and make it really clear for those business owners who are a little bit more afraid or less certain about whether or not someone will challenge them down the line, that they are an employee when that business owner may never have expected to be challenged on those grounds. I think this will actually allow for more work opportunities for people.
All right. The scrapping of the 30-day rule and tweaking trial periods, you say, gives employers more flexibility. How will you make sure new workers aren't left vulnerable in these positions?
Yeah. So did you say this is the 30-day rule?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is really is it's an extension of the ACT Party coalition agreement to have the 90-day trials. Now, you'll remember right when I first started this term of government, one of the first things I did was expand 90-day trials for all businesses. or at least that's what I thought I'd done. It became really clear at the start of this year that that wasn't the case. There were still
Right.
some business organisations that couldn't adopt the 90-day trials. And so I said, well, that's kind of contrary to our coalition agreement, so let's fix that. And really what this problem is that if there's a business out there that has a collective agreement in place, there might be some union members or people who have a collective agreement, anyone else who comes to join that organisation has to be on the same terms and conditions as that union or collective agreement, even if they're not a member of the union. And even if they want an independent agreement, they can't have it, not until they've done 30 days on the union terms and conditions, which we would say is wrong, because it's actually stopping those businesses being able to offer 90-day trials. And in effect, I think it's about freedom to contract. You know, people, if they don't want to be part of a union, shouldn't be forced to sign up to the union terms if that's not what they wanted.
Yeah, no, that is right. Can we look at paid parental leave starting, I believe, 1st of July? There's a boost coming, a maximum weekly payment rise from $754.87 to $788.66, while self-employed parents will now go from $231.50 to $235 gross per week. This reflects the recent minimum wage increase, and eligible parents can receive up to 26 weeks of leave. Hope I got all those right. Now, the rise, Minister, will be welcome, of course, for lots of families. But do you think it goes far enough? I mean, it's a pretty modest jump by anyone's standard, especially with the cost of living still pretty high.
Yeah, I recognise that, you know, it's really tough out there for a lot of families at the moment. And in part, this is what the government can do to try and help those new families who have got a new baby, just joined their family. The way it's actually calculated is it's done on average weekly earnings. So we have a bit of a calculation done within government each year to top up what we think people would have likely earned or had an increase on across the wider economy, and allow that to be an increase for people who aren't working because they've just had a newborn. And I think for any new family, they'll be really grateful that that's another $34 a week, and that's not to be sniffed at. You can do a lot with an extra $34. But it is also an acknowledgement that, you know, the government is essentially contributing here. It's not business owners funding it. So we do have to get that balance right between ensuring people have a good amount coming in week to week so that they can relax and get used to that newborn without the fear of needing to go back to work insanely fast, while also balancing that with the overall cost to government. But I do think this 34 extra, which takes us up to $788 a week, which is, I think, pretty generous, is actually really, really welcome. And I know everyone across government welcomes us doing this move.
Okay. Would you support more flexibility maybe around how and when parental leave is taken, especially for parents, say, wanting to split it or work part-time?
Yeah, it's interesting you raise that, because I have started to think about that area, you know, especially when we think about many modern families. A lot of women actually do work and really want to get back to work too.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of dads who actually do want some time with their newborns. It's not something that I have at the moment made any decision on, but it is something that is in the back of my mind. It's something I'm interested in.
Okay. I know the parental leave covers women that have suffered a miscarriage or stillbirth or been a surrogacy. How important was it, Brooke, to support women going through these experiences?